Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. So if you needed any more evidence that the election was slipping out of the Democrats' hands, although that's feeding into the Democrat narrative in the first place that it was ever really within their hands, but if you needed any more evidence that the Democrats are on track to lose, then look no further. Joe Biden's favorite polling firm, Harvard Harris X polls, which of course we've been covering for over a year at this point quite extensively. You know, those same polls that when Joe Biden had a 45% approval rating as he was tanking in the polls post-Kabul or the fall of Kabul, the Afghanistan withdrawal failure, while all the legitimate pollsters had him at 45% and then subsequently he moved down below 40%, Harvard Harris X would have you believe that Joe Biden's approval rating was still 58% or 56%. One of the biggest jokes in the polling industry, nothing but Democrat shill DNC push polls. Well folks, where I'm getting at with this is when Harvard Harris X releases a poll that shows that not only are Democrats losing, but they're about to get stomped out of political existence. Well then, if you're a leftist activist who's been coping about the 2022 election, well you might want to look away. You might want to go back into your Twitter bubble, in your little safe space, where your mental health is protected by facts, statistics, and data that disprove your worldview. You might want to turn this video off. In fact, you might want to go into the forest and join Hillary Clinton, because an absolute shellacking of the Democrats seems to be priced in, folks, as Harvard Harris X is showing Republican generic congressional ballot support at 53%. Not only are they leading, but supposedly Republicans are over the majority line when it comes to support for Congress. Leftoid brains are exploding everywhere, and so who knows? The end of 2022 might be spectacular. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so let's delve into the data. The closer we get to election day, a lot of undecided voters are finally making their decisions. And as you guys can see, it seems as though the Republicans are running away with this one. And this is due to the last 5 polls that have hit. Rasmussen reports at +7 for Republicans, Trafalgar Group at +5, the CBS News poll shows Republicans at a +2 lead, and the Harvard Harris poll shows Republicans with a +6 lead. I mean, this is almost unfathomable. But the craziest thing of all is that Republican column on that Harvard Harris poll. Supposedly, according to this data, Republicans are winning 53% of the vote with likely voters, not registered voters. That's an important distinction, which means this red wave, which some people are thinking might be a little red trickle or a red drop, might actually be a red tsunami, where Republicans win the popular vote nationwide, absolutely stunning the nation and sweeping races that you might not have even expected. This puts Democrats in a seriously bad scenario. They're relying solely on the polls at face value, but I'm telling you folks, on election day, the polls might be wrong by 6%. Why do I say 6%? Because that's happened in the past many times. Republican support is almost always underestimated. Well, this Harvard Harris poll might be the only one that's figured out how to tap in to how voters are actually thinking. Oh, and of course we have to look at this Fox News poll. Fox News data very quickly becoming some of the most discredited garbage in the polling industry. First of all, just a couple weeks from the election, why are you releasing polls that are sampling registered voters instead of likely voters? How stupid is that? Showing Republican support at 41% with the Democrat +3 lead. It just doesn't make sense, folks. The polls showing Democrats in the lead at all usually are not screening for likely voters, they're just looking at registered voters. They're doing something wrong, they're clear outliers. The trend here is showing Republicans at anywhere from +2 to +7, signaling an election sweep across the nation. Democrats are not in a good position. And to make that point, let's delve into this Harvard Harris X CAPS poll, where everywhere you look, Democrats are underwater. Let's start off with Joe Biden on key issues. As you guys can see, I mean, the title says it all. Biden's approval on management of issues is weak across the board. He is underwater in every single key issue, and especially the top issues. The only place where Joe Biden seems to be succeeding, of course within quotation marks, is in his reaction to the virus. But even when you look there and you compare it to the data from when he first got inaugurated, he's down 20 points, from a high of 71% in March 2021 to now 51% in October 2022. His presidency is crumbling, and as we know, how a midterm election during a president's first term is almost always a referendum on his leadership. And just as Jen Psaki said, if this is a referendum on Joe Biden's leadership, they're done. And frankly, it might be a referendum on Democrat leadership in general. Democratic Party approval has plateaued after rising, now at 46%. Once again, Democrats saw a huge resurgence after Joe Biden's inauguration, peaking at around 55% approval and 45% disapproval, a 10-point gap. Well, it's now almost flipped on its head. Democrat Party approval sitting at 46%, disapproval at 54%. And if we look at the GOP, the opposite is true. GOP approval has risen 4 points in the last 4 months, now at 49%. Not to mention, if we go all the way back to March 18th, what we're seeing here is a steady climb all the way up. If we draw a correlation line across GOP approval, well, the trend is absolutely clear. In fact, it's undeniable. This right here, folks, is a visual representation through the data, visualizing exactly what I'm always going on about, the rise of a new conservative age. Support for Republicans, support for conservatives across the Western world is on the rise. After Donald Trump's presidency and then everything that transpired from, let's say, 2019 all the way to 2022, people are waking up like never before. Elitist liberalism is on the decline, and fiscally conservative nationalist populist conservatism, and even in the cultural sphere, traditionalism, is on the rise. People are finally waking up. You know, over the last couple of years, politics has really been so focused on the culture war, which of course is an important element. I'm not going to pretend like there aren't important issues there, but really over the last, let's say, 15 years, the political discussion in a certain way has been quite shallow, at least from a macro perspective. But lately, all of a sudden, it seems as though policy has taken the forefront again. All of a sudden, monetary policy is at the forefront of political discussion and debate. All of a sudden, we're talking about things that matter, like energy independence, free trade, low tax environment, fiscal responsibility, reducing the deficit. You know, these are people that over the last 15 years, they've been present. Of course, people are having these discussions, but for the most part, they've been within their own realm. And the discussion at large in the world of politics has been nothing but nonsense, garbage, and distraction. All of a sudden, Democrats have lost their power to distract. And actually, if you think about it, without Donald Trump in office, it's almost as if they don't have a tool of distraction anymore. There's no using Donald Trump to distract away from their clear fiscal and monetary policy failures. There is no longer a convenient distraction for Democrats to use as a cloak. They tried with the whole January 6th nonsense, didn't work, fell flat on its face. And now all of a sudden, the meta discussion, the macro level discussion is policy. And regular people are looking at monetary policy and paying attention to good monetary policy and energy policy, and they're having a clear wake up moment. What the hell have I been thinking? Voting for money grows on trees Democrats and liberals, thinking this thing was going to end well and wasn't going to crash and burn. That's like handing over the financial aspect of your company, of your business, to a damn crack addict, Hunter Biden, and expecting him to do a good job. Is it any surprise that he led your company bankrupt and $5 million in debt trying to fund his crack cocaine addiction? Yes, liberals are political crack addicts. That is exactly what I am saying. But anyways, I've made my point. There is a serious conservative resurgence here, folks. It's pretty much undeniable at this point. We're seeing it in Sweden, Canada, Italy. We've seen it in various other countries, and I believe we're going to see it in the United States of America as well. And if Harvard-Harris polling data is suggesting that, well then we must be onto something. Keep coping, leftoids. You thought you flushed the red wave, but it's about to crash on the shore, leaving everything in its wake red. That's what I got for you guys though. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel if you guys are up for it. I'm gonna get back to work. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.